Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today's video is on text analysis, that is question 2 of paper 1, that is reading paper. Text analysis involves the study of language use in both in written and spoken text, but here you are dealing with the written text types. In exams you are given different text types like articles, blog entry, advertisements. When the type is different, you must be familiar with the key conventions of different text types. Half work is done when you know key conventions of different text types. For example, some of the text starts with the heading, subheading, some starts with date, and means different text types have different form, structure, and the language used in them. Sometimes there are complex sentences used, sometimes there are simple sentences. So before analyzing these texts, you must be familiar with the key conventions. You examine different features of text, such as language, structure, form, audience purpose, or context, to get an understanding of how meaning is created or conveyed through these features in a specific text type. Your analysis can be done at different levels. Like sometimes you analyze individual words or phrases, and sometimes you analyze different patterns of language use. And basically, you look at how language choices are used to achieve particular effects and convey specific meanings. You must be familiar with IGCSE writer's effect. And here the analysis is in more in detail. You were given an article from the science section of a magazine in May-June 2021 past paper. Before analyzing the form, structure, and language of this given text, you must know how an article is written. Articles in science magazines are typically well researched and well organized, and they are written in such a style that is suitable for even a non-specialist audience. Such articles usually follow certain key conventions, and if you know these key conventions beforehand, you can write an effective analysis in exams. For instance, starts with the heading or the title, and the title should be attention-grabbing and informative, giving readers a sense of what the article is about. And then there must be an introduction. The introduction should provide background information about the topic and set the scene for the article. And then there is a body. There is a body of the article. It should provide detailed information and evidence to support the argument, and it may have data, examples, or the expert opinions. And then these articles in science magazines, they often include references to other sources of information. Now let me show you the sample response here. One of the candidates starts the analysis like, the article consists of information about trees and whether they can communicate or not, means telling the main idea or the context of the article. The author has caught the attention of the reader by using an interesting heading, which generates curiosity within the person reading it. And the author first uses language to entrap the reader. He engages the reader in the article by using lexes related to ethereal and fictional writing. For example, through cathedral-like groves, you are giving a reference or the wordings from the same article. And then you show that there is a feeling of being in a fairy tale. Means right in the beginning, it doesn't look like a scientific piece or an article from a science magazine. Why? Because you are grabbing the reader's attention, basically. Another candidate starts the same analysis with a different style, using writer's purpose. The writer's purpose is to refute the commonly accepted idea. And what is that idea? The trees are disconnected from each other. But here the writer tries to show the readers that they are actually connected and they support each other. And that purpose is not actually stated directly in the beginning of the article. As I said it earlier, the author starts off with a descriptive language by using imagery to describe a scene. Why? Because grabbing readers' attention. Because if it is purely scientific piece, might be possible that the audience may not take interest in that article. So getting their interest, grabbing their attention, writer starts with descriptive language. By using this kind of structure of starting with imagery and shifting to the scientific portion, the writer can create a feeling of curiosity in the reader so that they continue reading the magazine. Start your analysis with either the context or the purpose of the article. The second step must be to talk about the language, or to talk about what kind of tone is used by the writer. When the writer starts off with descriptive language, it's better to talk about the figurative devices used by the writer in the article. So the candidate says the writer uses personification to create vivid images in the reader's mind by using terms such as wise old mother trees, neighbors, warn the neighbors, and then reckless youngsters. It is suggested to use the specific words or the phrases in your analysis and avoid using the lengthy quotes from the article. And when you mention that personification, a figurative device here, it means you are giving human quality to plants. So you must describe this idea or explain this idea in detail. Then the candidate says the writer also uses a power of 3 in various parts of the article. If this point is used in various parts of the article, then you must mention those at least 3 different examples of power of 3 here. But the candidate has used only one example to quote. For example, relationships, alliances, and kinship networks. This allows the writer to convey the concept more clearly. Instead of writing this, I suggest you to mention that what clarity is conveyed using this power of 3 by the writer. Otherwise, if you have less explanation here for this point, don't use this point in your analysis. Another candidate talks about the tone of the writer. In the first paragraph, this candidate has started the discussion with the descriptive language used by the writer to grab the reader's attention. So now going with the same idea, the second paragraph, this candidate has started with the tone used by the writer. So the mystic tone is established and contributes to the magical mood of the article. You must remember the tone is used by the writer and the mood is developed by the readers. By using mystic tone, the writer is grabbing readers' attention, and when this kind of tone is used, you start believing that trees really communicate with each other. And the second thing is using personification. Personification means you are giving human trait, human quality to plants. And by using this personification figurative device, the writer is showing that the wise old mother means warn neighbors. In this way, the phrases connect to the author's purpose. And the author's purpose in the beginning was to grab the reader's attention for the scientific information. So here, he is informing people that trees are communicating, but in a descriptive way. They compare the surrounding trees to neighbors, suggesting that they form a neighborhood or community together. And then the writer has used metaphors for the same idea, because he uses descriptive language in the beginning and now showing different chunks that what contributes to descriptive language. Here, metaphors are also utilized to further provide readers with a magical atmosphere. And why the writer is using for the scientific information in the beginning, that he is grabbing readers' attention. So what kind of features he's using to grab readers' attention? The writer, or the candidate, has to discuss such features in the analysis. Now the candidate's analysis shows that language in this text has been used to engage the reader. The starting of the article wasn't anything scientific per se, it was more of a description of the place, where the person was. The author then introduced a specialist in the field of trees to show the experts' say on the topic. As I talked about it earlier, that the scientific article takes references, talks about experts' opinions. And here, in the beginning of the article, the writer was using the descriptive language. And why? Only to grab readers' attention. And when the readers started taking interest in the article, the writer has used the scientific terms, has used the scientific opinions or the experts' advice here to show that it's more like a scientific piece now. This is how you can talk about the formation of the article, the form of the article. The article, you say that by the end of the article, the writer started including more scientific terms here, and then the writer shifts focus throughout the article. First focusing on the plants as if they're human beings, then focusing on the plant specialist, then changing focus again onto more scientific bit of article. The paragraphs are structured in such a way that they flow with one another and it comes naturally. The same idea is discussed here by another candidate in a different style. Towards the middle of the article, Peter Wolleben, a German forester and author, is introduced to the reader in order to include a new perspective and shift to the scientific portion of the article. The same is a case here that the writer started with the descriptive language in order to get readers' attention, and now he's moving more towards scientific language. So that's why he's using the expert's opinion here. And who is the expert here? The German forester, because he has spent most of his time with the nature and most of his time with the plant community. So he's the best person to explain plant community in more detail. So the writer using similes to talk about the relationship between Wolleben and plant community. He's saying that he's very tall and straight like the trees, and his blue eyes match the blue of the sky. So here the comparison is made between these two to correlate this Peter, German forester, with the nature around him. This is how you can end your analysis. When concluding the article, the writer effectively restates that trees cooperate with each other through communication. Because at times the writer has written that the trees being disconnected. He has shown the readers that they are being disconnected lovers, competing for water, nutrients, and sunlight. So you can end the analysis with the same note as the writer has finished the article. They end the text in the manner in order to firmly reassure the audience, telling the audience that forest trees do maintain relationship. They are connected to each other. And the last paragraph, the text is effective in delivering its message of trees talking to each other, as mentioned in the title. So here, the author in this whole article, the author has used multiple literary devices. I suggest you to compare text analysis to eating a new dish in a restaurant, like a food reviewer, because you carefully examine all the different ingredients used in that dish to make it something special. In the same way, when you analyze a text, you analyze various components or various features of that text. If you're a food reviewer or you're analyzing a text, it means you're looking for something that stands out from the ordinary, or you're looking for those components or those features from text that makes it engaging for the readers.